Now, what we have here is an embarrassment, like the Cajun says. Plumb embarrassment. The reason is, if you calculate the energy flow out of this little old bitty circuit, maybe with a little old bitty battery powering it, it's enormous. Unbelievably enormous. And it reveals that we build the poorest thing in the world for electric circuits to intercept and catch energy and use it. I mean, I can't think of a word bad enough to describe how terrible the collection efficiency of our accepted circuits is. Think of the worst one you can and make it 10 times worse. You're still shy. Well, next slide, please. There was an answer to that. Get rid of the problem. You got a problem? Get rid of it. Sweep it under the rug. So Lorentz taught us a little trick. We put a little old closed surface cylinder right around that wire there, or some components. We're looking at a component. And we iterate that Poynting vector right around all that whole closed surface. And all those components that didn't hit nothing and didn't get diverged, they passed the same speed and the same magnitude in the same direction out the other side. It's a positive vector going in, it's a negative vector coming out. The integration cancels it. The only vector that's retained is the amount that hit the surface electrons got diverged into the circuit. So it'll match your instrument readings because they measure dissipation. They do not measure energy flow without dissipation. They measure only the dissipating component of the energy flow. It'll match your instrumental readings, the J-phi vector. And that's what we teach as the energy flow in all our textbooks and in the literature. And the scientists are still discussing this. They've been arguing like gentlemen. That means debating very politely. In the American Journal of Physics alone, 30 years about what the hell is the energy flow in the circuit. And most of them want to say it's the energy dissipation flow. And all our electrical engineers, if you look at what they call the Poynting flow today, it's the Poynting dissipation flow, only it's called energy flow, and it's totally fallacious. It's about 10 to the minus 13th of it. Isn't that odd? From every circuit, you've got so much more energy filling the circuit, around the circuit in space, that you could collect and use, that if we had a Department of Energy worth a tootity twat, that's a pretty good one, they would be doing this kind of work. How to collect more of the energy which is already there, and which if you go back and read Lorentz, you will find out it's there, and he threw it away. And everybody else just repeats the same thing he did. And they no longer even question it. The problem has never been energy. We have never built anything but a free energy machine. Every dipole in every generator and every battery is pouring the energy right out of the vacuum right down the circuit, and is poured in 10 to the 13th or so on the nominal circuit. It varies a little bit, the size of the wire and all that. But in the good nominal value is about 10 to the 13th times as much as that circuit itself intercepts and catches. And then us damn fools build a circuit which takes half of that and kills the dipole. That's how we do business in an energy system. And then we cry to you, to the taxpayer, we can't do any better. And the oil companies laugh. Well, the people that own the oil companies laugh, because you've got to keep buying oil. Okay, next slide, please. And you will. We keep that meter on your car, at least the gas pump, and we keep it on your home. And going to keep it on there. Now, here's what Lorentz said. In effect, this is a little comedy sketch of what he said. If he was out on a sailboat and he was only catching the wind in his sail from a big wind on the ocean, he was in effect saying, none of the rest of that wind has any physical significance. That's the phrase he used back there. Except the wind that's in my sail. That's how stupid that is. So we add the next little slide to show that kind of graphically, get a little chuckle out of this mess. You got to make it humorous. You got to keep your sense of humor. And we have him looking around at all these other sailboats somebody put in there, and he's saying, how the devil are they using that physically insignificant wind? Because there they are, you see. It's there if you want to collect it and use it. That's the main point. We are never taught to collect it, never taught it's even there. Next slide. I'm not going through that. If anybody's curious, that's the calculation. I couldn't find any calculation, although I'm quite sure Heaviside did it, but I can't find it anywhere in Heaviside's stuff. I must have missed it, but he did make this calculation somewhere. There's the calculation from a standard circuit right out of a textbook that gives you the 10 to the 13th figure. So, yeah, you can calculate it, and that's about how much energy in a nominal little old circuit you really got, and we only catch and use about 10 to the minus 13th of it, and then we use half of that to keep killing the thing that's pouring out the energy from the vacuum. If you built a water wheel like that, you would take a pulley on the wheel and put it back up attached to another pulley on the gate that swings out in the river to divert the flow down across the water wheel. And every time the water wheel started moving, the little pulley would start tightening the cable and start closing the gate. And those damn fools would have to go back up and keep shoving and working on the gate to keep it open. The energy's free, ladies and gentlemen. It never cost us anything. There's never been anything but free energy in every system we ever built. A charge, a single electron, a single proton is a free energy generator. It's a broken symmetry in that fierce flux with a vacuum, and I guarantee you that's a free energy generator. Particle physics has known it for 40 years.